Going off of the wall clock here, it is noon. I would like to make a few announcements here before we, start the meeting proper. First off, I would like to thank the OnPoint staff for providing our lunch this morning from Mug Shots. Thank you very much. It's very considerate and the board appreciates that.
Yep.
Immensely. So, further news, they're in the process of opening up the roundabout. Your first time.
Oh, you're kidding.
Your first time through that, be very careful because everybody is going to be learning this new efficient, traffic structure. You don't want to lose anybody. So, or cause any, property damage. So, that's the latest news on that.
Your house is right near it?
No, my house is not here, but I have to negotiate that with the city. Which is, and remember, semis usually win.
Yeah.
So, everyone has signed in, and picked a lunch, please do. Water is behind me with cups. With that, hi, Tim. I know this is a different room that we're meeting in. It's part of the, progressive structure and revamping of this old building, into the new use for OnPoint. We appreciate the use of this, instead of the board lamp today. And, also, make sure that you turn in your travel vouchers to me after the meeting. I have to go and get those signed. And, with that is, Mr. Whitty, do you have any further announcements at this time?
No, sir.
Feel free to keep, eating. I will go and sort of go down through attendance here, but, at this time, I'd like to, and remain seated for this. We're going to have the pledge of allegiance. I don't have a flag here anywhere. It's in the boardroom, but, take your hats off and, we'll say the pledge of allegiance as soon as everybody's swallowed. You all set, Mark? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Johnson, will you please go over and sign in and pick a lunch, please? I'll give you some time for that. Roll call, Kimberly is not going to be here today. I will give her an excused absence. Pam is here. That Brookhouse is here. Jessica Catherine.
Here.
I learned that if I put my chin down, it would come.
Helps.
Mark, yeah, here. Jane Farrell.
Here.
Doc Johnson.
Here.
Alice Kelsey.
Here.
Dr. Robert Plank.
Here.
Aaron Stratton.
Here.
Dr. Benedict. Here. And I am here. You know, Mark, we should probably have food at every team.
Yes, people here.
We now have on the agenda the provision for public comment. Seeing no public in the room, Mrs. Hamilton, is there anyone online?
No.
Okay. Second call. Hearing nothing, we will close the provision for public comment. We have on the agenda a very abbreviated agenda for this special meeting. We're being recorded, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. With that, we are going to be discussing, this resolution and, public comment section that was submitted, by Mr. Whitty and I. I have to give Mr. Whitty the majority of the credit credit. He has wonderful computer skills, and I hope it's up to snuff. Everyone did receive this when we sent it out correctly?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, they're nodding their heads. So, next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jessica,
Or
support by Robin. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the discussion of the appointment of the executive committee members resolution. You have a copy of that. That was over here that you could think of, should have picked up when you came in. I'll let Karen get, everybody get a copy of that. Okay. Mark, do you want me to read it out loud or?
Maybe I could just reiterate the introduction that was not in this document, what was in the email that went to everybody, just kind of reset the rationale, what you see.
The rationale of both of these at the board meeting that was discussed. You just keep me on my toes.
Sorry.
I thought for a moment we might have mice. This is a product of what Mark and I discussed and tried to put forward, considering, trying to support the LRE, the staff, the members of that board, and to, taking in consideration what their charter really comes down and really is supposed to be enacted and enforced and lived. And so this is what we have put forth. We will, since everyone has read it, I will open it up for discussion of the resolution. Mrs. Johnson?
I just had a clarifying question. There's a Health West and a Network 180 that are nominated at this point, or will be nominated Wednesday.
The nomination committee, from what I understand, has nominated a Patricia from Network 180 and Janet from Health West. These are the two that in the serving of their customers and the state coming back in and saying, yep, you did this correctly, has gone over budget and has had to be made whole by the IFS funds. When the LRE got into trouble, they were unsuccessful in getting that taken care of.
30 minutes.
And remedy that management of their in-house programs or contracts or their entire service of their clients. And this is the LRE current officers are Chairman Stan Stepp, who is Network 180. The Vice Chairperson is Jim Story, and the Secretary is Ron Bacon, as of right now. The new officers coming in is what the nomination committee, like our nomination committee does, brings to the board for their approval. We have an opportunity, as of right now, to make a statement. And that was what is requested at the board meeting on Tuesday. We have tried for the resolution and verbal comments that can be made during public comment to further strengthen this resolution. So, does that answer your question that was put forward?
Halfway, because is Patricia going to be nominated for the chair? And then-
I just said that Patricia is being nominated for the chair.
I didn't.
And Janet was going to be nominated for the vice chair from Health West.
Okay. Which entities haven't signed the operating agreement?
The only entity from my knowledge has not signed the operating agreement is Network 180. Correct.
Okay. And just for info, who's getting nominated for the secretary position?
Ron Bacon,
And he's been on
he's on there.
currently. Okay.
And where is he from?
He's from West Michigan. It's West Michigan, I think Mason County,
Oh,
Be Ottawa, correct?
Mason.
Based,
So all three of them now are in that camp? Of entities that have not behaved in the budget?
we in the past have not behaved and we have straightened our house, righted the ship.
Yeah,
Basically because of the turmoil of our, former, executive director. Now, Mr. Whitty has gone and made those tough decisions and brought them to the board. The board has approved those tough decisions
okay,
and have, endured the wrath of the public in this particular spot. Because we eliminated the ACT program and that building and, really tried to get our finances back into order so
okay,
we could go and keep the personnel that we had
got it,
and keep programs moving forward.
thank you.
At this time, I'd say that Mark and his team have done a very exemplary job in putting fingers in the dike. To use a Dutch term, working for me. So, yes,
Okay. When's the last time we dipped into the ISF?
I believe it was fiscal 18.
Okay. And so we haven't touched the rainy day fund in 6 years or so. How often have Health West and Network 180 dipped into it?
I believe Network 180's overspent their allocation and dipped into ISF every year since about 5 years, I think. I can't say Health West the same way, but it's been several years for them as well. West Michigan is also a very fractional, sometimes not.
Okay.
We tend to be not, and Ottawa County tends to not have a deficit.
Okay,
How much money have we put into the ISF roughly in the last 5 years?
I didn't guess on average, it's around $1.5 million for each of the 5 years where we've underspent our allocation.
So 7 or 8 million over 5 years. That we've given back and they've had to use consistently because they're fiscally, they're not managing it within budget.
That and more, yeah.
Okay, just getting the picture clear in my head.
to add on to that, we do have, also the money that we have spent of Medicaid funds that have come back to the vets and the general fund amounts that have gone back to the state.
So what I was referring to was Medicaid dollars in the first place, so that's not every year. General fund is going back and forth. We've been over, we go over, we have to tap local dollars, not Medicaid, so it's never been a regional issue.
Right.
In years where we have had excess, we have both, we have shared it with others. This year, we have executed a transfer of general funds to Health West in the amount of about $300,000 contingent on our not needing it.
Mhm.
And in other years, we have received from others, not just in our region, but beyond our region. We
Wow,
received a $600,000, I think, amount about 2 years ago from Macomb County.
Yes,
So
I remember.
so this is a very liquid situation with funds that are flowing from the state to the LRE. The LRE does not give that ISF money to us directly and then we pay it back. They are putting that ISF fund, now it's going to be capped instead of that, I believe it was 15% before, it's gonna be capped at 7.5%.
there was some gap before.
So, but, all right,
Mr. Chairman, it might be helpful at this time if I could also introduce one piece of information from a meeting that occurred Wednesday with the LRE Board Executive Committee. That meeting on Wednesday afternoon, for which there are notes in that packet, included a briefing on the financial situation for this year and a projection for the future. I put in my board report that we've been hearing positive information from the LRE that they're going to present to their board a balanced budget and hold themselves accountable to do what we've done over the years, which is to stay on the right side of the bottom line. What happened yesterday was a request by the executive committee to hear from Network 180 on their current deficit situation and the budget that they're projecting for 2025. What was presented was, and I don't have the numbers in front of me at the moment because they're in that packet, but something along the lines of $15 million is the current year projected deficit. That's assuming that they receive $3.5 million in additional Medicaid revenue through the adjustment that the department is making yet this year. That's a guess, and it's probably optimistic. That'd be that much, and that'd be their share. The other thing they've done is to present for fiscal 25. They're assuming that they'll start out the same deficit that they end with this year. That's their starting point. They assume certain additional revenues and certain savings that they can accomplish through program reductions and changes in contracting and so forth. But the bottom line, after all that's done, that the budget, if it were to be presented to their board for approval this month, would have a $6.5 million deficit going into it. So not balanced to begin with.
Well, I guess not.
So if you're looking for maybe additional sentiment, there may be a little bit already on the LRE Executive Committee that Network 180 is not presenting the balanced budget even for this year and for next. What was interesting, or I guess a point, I don't mean to break people over their coals about it, it's just facts. Bill Ward, their director, was not present for that meeting. He was attending something else in the community related to housing. And his financial staff, who are actually employees of Raymond, same as ours, were there on the call describing this information. When they were asked to square Bill's comments saying we will present a balanced budget and keep it such, there's their statements of current year deficit and future year deficits. Their statement was, well, we disagree with our director,
Oh, my goodness.
which means to me that, I mean, well, I don't think they're in a position of providing leadership to the region.
No,
Clearly, if they don't
That's,
agree with their own factor. How's that?
excuse me, but the outbursts, we need to keep it to, I know that sometimes the heartburn gets to where you can't stand it, but let's try to be as respectful and so.
I should probably have ended that by saying, just that, they have some issues to work out within their own team, yeah.
I guess.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any other questions, Mrs. Johnson, while you have?
not now, maybe in a minute.
Okay, thank you. Coming back to the resolution. Is there anyone that would like to place this resolution as a motion so we can debate it, amend it, or
Don't move.
motion by Clay to?
Support.
That's okay, Mrs. Johnson.
I'll support Robin on that one.
I am familiar with how you work. Okay, we have a resolution of the OnPoint Board of Directors for the appointment of the executive committee members for 2025. This is for a one-year term, correct, if I'm not mistaken? And this is up for discussion. It has been properly moved and supported. Now discussion can happen. Mrs. Kelsey.
I wanted to say that I really took to heart both Craig and Mark's concerns about our future negotiation and working with our fellow board members. And so I'm really glad that we're at a point where we're talking about saying, not that we want Jim to be chair or vice chair, but that we want to, be sure that we're led by people who, have the quality that we are looking for. And one thing that I just wanted to say about this is that this is wonderful, Mark, and you are a great wordsmith.
Amen.
I would be more comfortable if it was simpler, shorter, simpler, and something that, because there are gonna be people in, my fellow board members are gonna go, huh, what's this all about? I mean, this is gonna hit them, unexpectedly, I think. And we're only gonna have a little bit of time to talk about it before they'll have to make a decision. So I'd like it to be as clear and as simple as possible for them to, take in. So I have circled two phrases that I really, like, and I have, I would love to see something to that it be really just one, and therefore be it resolved. You know, that, simply says, you know, we urge the LRE board to nominate, members who are, phrase that I love is that manages its financials responsibly. And two, that it, acts at all times in the best interest of the LRE. You know, it's that idea of you're an LRE board member, you're not an OnPoint board member. So something that, you know, clearly states that would be my preference that we have. And then this is going to be wonderful for Jim and Craig and I to have to be able to look down and basically, you know, paraphrase you, Mark, you know, it'll give us, some language to refer to. And I also love the idea of Mark in the, public comments saying, I've been asked by the OnPoint board to make this, you know, present this resolution. And that way then Mark is just the messenger and, isn't going to be kind of, if there's any kind of blowback about all of this, that he's just the messenger. So those are my two, sort of points that I would hope that we could get to a point where, that's part of what's the resolution that we vote on.
Thank you, Alice. As to, any comments or suggestions, or as you use your phrase, blowback, please refer them to the person that's going to sign this as board chair, and I will handle those.
Yep.
Because they shouldn't be taking it out on our LRE members or our executive director. I'm the one that's the board chairman, speaks for the board, and I will tell them exactly where the board stands. This came from the board. So, is there anyone else that would like to have their part of discussion before I recognize?
Yes.
Jessica?
I read through it and I think it's pretty straightforward as it's. So my only question is this something that's gonna be read then, correct, Mark, in public comments?
I understand the resolution will be presented, and then on the second page, this is the public
This is the
comment.
verbal, okay.
This is the public comment that the narrative that we would like to have Mr. Whitty read to
Gotcha.
and read from in his 5 minutes allotted for public comment.
Got it.
Our desires and our perspectives. This is what you need to read.
Yeah, then in that, I think the resolution, as I read through it, it doesn't call anyone out, it's just stating.
These are their own words.
This is what the LRE, you know, what you're supposed to do, this is what's in the agreements, the operating agreements. Those are just my thoughts.
This is open discussion and we appreciate your thoughts and to bring them forward here because this is the board, this is what we do.
It's almost
This is
having
what-
large print.
You like the large print or you want it larger?
No, I like this because it won't be hard for anybody to whip through this at all.
You are, referring to the resolution.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anyone else for discussion? Mrs. Johnson,
If you go to the public comments on the back, and it's it's the last full paragraph, no, it's not.
that would be the,
Yeah, it starts with, in that regard, the recommendation your board receives, it's on page 4 of 5. It's before the last paragraph before the quote and bottom of the page.
in regard,
Yep, in that regard. I think that needs to be a whereas, because I think the resolution will be documented and recorded as part of the board minutes and stuff. I don't know if it will be grasped in a comment, in a public comment, and I'd like it to be somewhere, not the however, because that's,
how would you like to have Mr. Betty emphasize
I
this
would-
public comment?
I would like to say, the entities that have nominations have had actions in the past year, put the integrity of the board into question. It calls to question the degree to which the LRE board will uphold the aspiring words of our operating agreement. I think their actions, their decisions, their operating of them not signing the agreement, how can they oversight it in chair one or in chair one? If it, I mean, who in their right mind hires an employee and has no contract with them?
Right.
But that's exactly what's happening here. How can it, whereas the actions of them not signing the operating agreements cannot ensure equitable checks and balances and all that good stuff. And I think that needs to be a whereas in there somewhere.
So in other words, you're saying that in that regard should be whereas the recommendation your
Well-
board receives today.
Yeah, something like that. Mark can figure it out, but I think there,
No, we're talking about the wishes of this board that we want Mr. Whitty to express to the LRE board. And we need to be very succinct.
well then,
Yeah.
yeah, that paragraph will do.
That paragraph, you are on board with that paragraph?
Whereas the recommendation your board receives today as sort of is that like how protocol would be? I mean, you put
The whereases are within the body of the resolution.
right,
This in public comment, they're not going to be standing on form.
right,
They're gonna be watching this man speak from the heart, our wishes as the OnPoint board and what we perceive happening.
I'd like it in the resolution as a whereas, but where it says, which we note, not where 180 has yet to sign. They want to chair the oversight committee and they didn't sign it themselves.
Okay, your comments have been taken into record, recorded. Jessica,
I just have one concern with putting it into the resolution, because at the last meeting, we talked about not being the hammer
Exactly. Yeah.
and trying to just make sure like so for me, the way, and this is in my head, the way I'm thinking. The resolution is, it's just fact. These are the facts. It's laid out. Like, this is what the LRE is supposed to do. Boom, 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 boom. That's here. And this is more, we're reminding them of what they haven't done in public comment. And when you speak that out, you have 5 minutes, I don't know how many minutes do?
5 minutes.
5 minutes there as well. When Mark speaks, he can really emphasize that part. This is not gonna take 5 minutes for Mark to say.
No,
So putting that in as a whereas and specifically calling out in the whereas, that could be more damaging than what we currently have. And what we're trying to do is get those, we need Ottawa, and what's the other county, Mason? Is that who's in the LRA with us?
Yes.
That's
No,
real.
but
It's West Michigan CMH, but the individual we're referring to is from Mason.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what the counties, but the other two places that we need to get on board to get the majority, like, we don't wanna start calling people out, but we need to draw the attention. And putting this specifically and putting, Network 180 specifically into the resolution, I don't believe that that is a good idea.
Okay.
And the public comment, I believe it's a good idea, like the way it was written here, because it can be emphasized that way, and then it's coming across.
And he-
Those are just my thoughts.
Okay. Those thoughts, you have to realize that Mr. Whitty is not going to be up there in just his shirt and tie. He's going to be recognized as the official executive director of OnPoint, giving public comment. He's going to be in suit and tie. His body language is going to exude authority from this board, and they're going to take it as such. So with that comment and that clarification, Mrs. Johnson, do you have any further comments?
Yeah, maybe not call out 180 specifically. I think I'm looking big picture because I just realized Stan Steck is the chair. I thought Jim was and so forth, but I am appalled at the idea that we are part of an organization that allows people to be the chair who will not sign the agreement. And I think if we put in the resolution, whereas the point person of oversight, that entity has yet to sign what they're overseeing. It's like, you all play by the rules and I'm gonna make sure you guys play by the rules, but we don't have to. And to put it in the resolution, one, it is truly caught and it's in the minutes and it is on record. And then I think in the future, the LRE board should say, if you don't sign the agreement, you can't be on the executive committee. I mean, that's just crazy talk. But that's not where we're at. So I'm looking long-term to set this up for another play down the road.
Thank you. Before I recognize Mr. Whitty, this is going to be a strong slap in the face to Stan Steck, period, from the political nature of this board that is running the LRE. And when that happens, we have to be not so gentle, but we cannot leave bruises. If I paraphrase that as much as I can. Mr. Whitty.
That made a note about having to wear a suit that day, for the noted that, so.
No shorts.
I don't care what you wear.
Yeah. Just a little bit of background, if I may, just commenting on those items raised by Beth. Stan and I have a relationship that goes back many, many years. My first job as a professional was at Whiteman Christian Services, where he was chair of our board. So, while I'm not gonna say that Stan, that I have any influence over Stan, but, from a continuing a relationship that predates involvement here, I feel like we can say what we need to say, and it won't be personally offensive to him. At least that wouldn't be my intent. So let me just say, the other thing I'll just say, I feel the need to pull out one section on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph that we've been talking about, that in that regard paragraph. The second line says the names put forward are names of otherwise honorable people. I want to remove the word names of otherwise, because it starts to impugn. Yeah, I just want to say that they are honorable people.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yep.
the people who've been forward are
Yep.
judges, attorneys,
Yep.
commissioners, just, I don't want to impugn their personal reputation there.
Right.
Okay. That is, that's a big,
Clarification.
well, just
Yes, go ahead.
point of order here. There has been recommended by the executive director that we amend that public comment portion to delete names of otherwise. Now, is someone willing to, make that a motion?
Don't move.
I'll make the motion. Okay. Do I hear support? Support by Jessica. Further discussion on eliminating those three words. Hearing none. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman, just so you know, for those who have a back to the screen, edits are being made as we speak. So we probably could have put chairs on the other side, but just so you know, we're keeping track of those edits there.
I've got ice in the back.
Oh, that's
We knew that.
why your roses.
You see, there's a little reflection in these glasses. So we'll keep going on. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? And since we have been discussing the letter two, I'll recognize Ms. Blake.
So will the text of the verbal presentation be made available
Uh,
to, it's really important.
well, typically I would provide them a handwritten copy, or a written copy, but it's not for inclusion in the packet that comes next month. But it's simply a courtesy to the
Okay,
chair and clerk.
Right. As Mr. Whitty said, it is, normal practice and protocol.
good.
Mrs. Johnson.
Looking at it up here, in these ways, the last, no, where am I? Up there, purple. The words that come to mind are these, and you have a lot of that quote from the agreement already in the whereas.
Yeah.
How, do you think we need to put that all in there or just eliminate as these words come to mind? Because I think you lay out that agreement piece in your
Yeah.
first three or four whereas's.
Well, this is again, Mr. Chairman, the strategy that the thinking is that I could say that paragraph with a fair amount of emphasis on what I want to emphasize.
Yeah.
And since I won't be reading the resolution more likely than not,
Right.
it's our only chance to really say it in front of the group. So it'll be in the resolution as, as it currently stands, but the only time it will be said to the members around the table is verbally. So I feel like it's important to include it there.
Yeah, verbally and in the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Just-
Yes.
That wasn't amended on the resolution, that was just a suggestion so far,
Yeah.
so it isn't
Suggestion.
necessarily a part of the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm following you as we have eliminated those three words in the public comment.
Yes.
I have not heard a amendment to the resolution as of now. Are you making an amendment to the resolution?
Yeah, because she already changed part of it to whereas up there. Right? That paragraph that.
I just highlighted, I wasn't sure if they're actually keeping that.
Can you go back to that?
Mhm.
Whereas the recommendation your board receives today, that purple piece, everything except the words that come to mind are these.
Okay,
That would
that is
be
what you are asking to be
amended into the resolution.
The amendment is the highlighted piece that is on the projection be added into the resolution as a whereas clause.
Mhm.
Do I have support for that? Do I have a support for that? Do I have a support for that? That motion failed.
Oh, all right.
So we are back to the original resolution. Mr. Whitty, further comment?
Just to follow up, I think on what Alice was talking about in terms of compacting the second page of the draft resolution. Having one, therefore be resolved.
Yes,
I do believe that since the language that is in the second and third be resolved paragraphs does exist on the first page,
Mhm.
I think we can find a way to reference it and simply, essentially, like I say compact, I'm not sure exactly the words, but I want to put something in there that refers to the, refers to the bylaws, I'm sorry, is it bylaws or conflict of interest? It's the operating agreement, refers to the operating agreement, because both of those paragraphs come from that. Maybe by saying in the first, let it be resolved, the duty of care and duty of loyalty as specified in the LRE's conflict of interest policy and as
Supported.
stated in the
yeah,
operation
Right.
of the LRE.
so the key thing is that to exemplify the duty of care, duty of loyalty, and uphold the principles as contained in the operating agreement or something like
Sure.
that.
Mhm.
And then we can dispense with paragraphs 2 and 3 under there.
Is that an amendment to the resolution offered by someone?
Yes,
Mrs. Clay is offering an amendment to the resolution as described by Mr. Whitty.
Ending, following the word policy in that first paragraph with the phrase, and uphold the principles of the LRE operating agreement.
mhm.
Okay, and that would be,
It's okay.
okay, that motion is made by Mrs. Clay.
Nope. It's on the next page, the section that we're at.
Motion is made by Dr. Clay. And that has been seconded by Pam Brenner.
Oh, it's supposed to.
State paper, yep, LRE operating agreement. So changed words are on the screen up above if you want to refer to those. So the bottom of the first page and then the continuing on to the second there. And the two paragraphs that follow could be eliminated.
Got it.
Yep.
Eliminate.
Yeah.
So the
Those
and
two
be it furthers, the and be it furthers can be eliminated then.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Dion.
could eliminate those two, but I would like to retain the last sentence that says, in these ways, the LRE exists to serve in the best interest of and to the benefit of all CMH SP members and the person served.
Chairman.
Is that amendment that Mr. Dion has, that quote that he is asking to be retained, is that a friendly amendment to the amendment?
Yes, it is. And I,
Yes, sorry, indeed.
Mrs. Clay, do you agree with that addition of,
Very friendly.
in these ways, the LRE exists to serve in the best interest of and to the benefit of all CMHSP members and their persons served? Mrs. Clay has agreed. Mrs. Brenner, do you agree with your second? Yes,
If I can just make a point of information, that very phrase that you wish to retain does appear at the end of one of the whereases on the prior thing of it. Yeah. So it is in there. I'm not sure if that meets your need, but
I just think it closes it.
Yeah.
Wraps it up.
Mhm.
It has been agreed by the motioner of the amendment and the seconder of the amendment that that addition can be put in that, therefore be it resolved. Which is now the only therefore be it resolved. The other two resolves have been eliminated.
It's the same thing.
So, well, is there any further discussion on that amendment? Mrs. Johnson?
Just a little one. It's a grammatical thing, because if it's a line lifted from the agreement, should it still be in quotes and italicized? Because we didn't write it, somebody else did. Teacher plagiarism, that's all.
Perhaps we could introduce that sentence by just saying as stated in the operating or.
Well, is it quoted in the whereas piece, wherever it's at?
Yes, it is. So
If
can we
it's
quote
quoted
it?
in the whereas, it should be quoted.
I think we could put a comma there that just simply says comma. Comma,
Comma.
there's a word we could put between the agreement and in there. To allow them just the opportunity to put a joining word there to be determined.
How could you do a colon and then put,
Oh, yeah, of the operating agreement, colon, and then quote it.
best, yeah, LRE exists to serve in the best interest.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be fine.
Okay. You have the amendment before you on the screen. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? The amendment vote will be taken now. Everyone in favor of the amendment, say yes.
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 Anyone opposed, say no. That amendment is now inserted into the original resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I'd advise the next course of action that the fourth whereas end with a quotation mark on the fourth line. Followed by the word and.
In other words, after fiscal integrity and in these ways, the LRE exists to serve in the best interest of and to the benefit of the CMHSP members and their persons served.
Removing that. Because we've just planted it at the end of the document.
Yes. Is everyone in favor of that?
Yes.
Correction grammatically?
Yes.
All in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
All opposed? Motion is fitted in. Is there any other grammatical, corrections that you would like to make? Teacher?
I don't think so.
Still, we're on potato chips.
No, you go right ahead.
All right. Is there any further discussion on the resolution as amended? Yes, Alice?
It's actually a question. Again, so just so I understand how we're gonna do this on next Wednesday. So when there's a public comment, you'll read this and refer to the fact that so like, is Jim or Craig and I going to be presenting a resolution? How does the resolution get,
I
put?
would intend to conclude my remarks by saying that the,
The board has asked.
basically, and here is the resolution to that effect that was adopted by the OnPoint board for your consideration. But they will already heard what the gist of it was, and hopefully not have to read the resolution to understand what they asked of them.
Right.
And hopefully they'll contemplate it until it gets on to the point on the agenda where they have to.
Sure.
Nicely,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Is there any further? Yes,
Another clarifying question.
yes.
Will the board be presented with the resolution before the meeting? Or you will be presenting it after public comment? Okay.
Clarification. You're talking about the LRE board.
Yes.
Because we're
Yes,
being
the LRB
recorded.
board, yes.
Yes. That will be,
Be presented at the time of the public comment.
yes, so it'll be put in front of the 15 members, well, 14 members.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it, but in my mind, that's ordinarily what boards entertain communications from other bodies.
Right. So,
Thank you.
okay, with that, is there any other questions before we vote on this resolution? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. Pam Brenner?
Yeah.
Ben Brookhouse?
Yes.
Jessica Castaneda?
Yes.
I'm sorry I made that, but I did.
Better and better.
Mark Young? Yes. Jane Farrell? Beth Johnson?
Yes.
Alice Kelsey?
Yes.
Dr. Robin Clay?
Yes.
Aaron Stratton?
Yes.
Pastor Craig Van Beek?
Yes.
And I say yes.
I think
That motion is declared
it should,
adopted.
it should be noted that Jane is Mark's right-hand woman. Sorry.
Going on to the next, agenda item is provision for public comment. Is there anyone on line? Seeing none in the presence?
No.
Going twice. I will close the provision for public comment at this time. Board comments. If there anyone that would like to make any comments at this time, we'll go around the horses. Mrs. Clay,
Thank you, everyone.
yes. Aaron,
I have no comment.
Glenn? Van Beek?
I do, so I would say, the idea of this does unsettle me a little, but so we're really trying to work there, you know, Jim, I and Alice. But they do need to hear this. So, and I think we put it together in a way that does that respectfully. So I appreciate that. I'm also very appreciative of how many of us are sitting here on a Friday at noon. That it's that important to make sure you've cleared your calendar to be able to do this. So I just want to say thank you to each of you for your effort and learning. Very impressed.
I just came from food.
That is your only comment, Commissioner DeYoung?
No, I wouldn't have voted for it unless I believed in it because I have to sign it.
I understand that. Mrs. Johnson?
I think it's a very nice resolution, and I think it, as Craig said, very respectful. So,
Jane?
I just want to say that, being that I'm a new board member, this really has helped me a lot, understand how OnPoint interacts with
Yeah.
LRE and,
Absolutely.
the contentious moments that have come up over the years, brings a lot of clarity for me. So I appreciate all these comments.
You're welcome. Jessica?
I just, as Jane said, it kind of brings clarity on what the board, like the ones of you who've been here a long time have had to deal with, and why Beth gets so fired up about
Yeah.
this when we talk about.
Fired up, this is me.
But also, as a reminder that we need to trust in our chairperson.
Sure.
And in March,
Sure.
and for Craig and Alice and Jim to know that as a board, we also have their back because they're
Yes.
representing us, so we also have to do that. And then collectively, like, we have your back, because we want what's best for not just the people in our county, but everybody who needs help with mental health services and what they offer. And it's gotta keep everybody accountable, right? Our peers, and that's other board members and other entities. So with that, I would like to say, if you're able to participate in Wednesday's meeting, I'd say go in and sit in as public comment to support Mark, even if we don't say anything, just. That's because I'm gonna try to do that. I move things around in my schedule so I can just
Where does it take
try to
place?
sit there.
At the Grand Valley State University Meridian Center on
I'll
the
have.
shore of,
I'll be participating virtually, because I have.
Is that a,
it's at 1 o'clock.
Okay, We will get the link out for
Yes.
that, from, the organization.
In
Pam's,
Again, just want to reiterate, it's been a great learning experience. I truly appreciate the teamwork of everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's been great, so thank you.
Alice?
Well, I just wanted to thank you. I feel much better as I go to next Wednesday's meeting.
good.
I appreciate your support.
Thank you. The comments that have been made by the board members today really show that everyone's heart is in the right place. And the discussion, that we've had is exhilarating.
Good.
And we really feel that this board is putting forth what we really feel how Allegan County should be treated and how we should be acting. And if we can show a good example, then hopefully our other partners in this LRE will follow that example. Because we expect that from them as they expect it from us.
If I make one more comment.
Well, I wasn't done, but, you right now, Mr. Young.
I want to say that we're affording them a lot more respect than I felt on May 23 to 2023. They dishonored me and the board by the tactics that they did. They were legal, sort of, but we did not get respect, and we're returning with respect. And hopefully we can show that that's how we work together.
Welcome. And if I ever show any inclination that I don't have 100% of my heart into trying to do my job here, you let me know, because I need a swift kick right with me. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Beth, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
We stand adjourned.